15 years ago, I buried my daughter, Ashley. I watched them lower the casket, I signed the papers, and I swore I'd never hear her voice again. But last month, at exactly 2:13 a.m., my phone rang. The name flashing on the screen stopped my heart. Ashley, mobile. At first, I thought it was a cruel prank, but when I answered, a voice whispered, "Dad, please don't tell Mom." Then the line went dead. Since that night, nothing in my life has made sense. Because if Ashley's really alive, then everything I believed, everyone I trusted, including my wife, has been a lie. Welcome, my friends. I'm truly glad you're here. Before we begin, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing how far these stories travel. While you're at it, give this video a quick thumbs up. It helps more people find these powerful stories. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss a single moment of what's coming next. Now, settle in, take a breath, and let's begin. 15 years is a long time to live with silence. Some days I swore I could still hear Ashley calling me from her old bedroom, her voice soft and full of life, but it was just the house breathing, settling into the same loneliness that had consumed me since the night she died. The world moved on. I didn't. Jennifer and I had drifted into different universes long before she packed her bags. Grief has a way of breaking people in opposite directions. She found faith in pretending, while I found comfort in isolation. She filled our daughter's grave with flowers. I filled my nights with bourbon and old photos. Ashley had been everything good about my life. She was 20, bold, and chasing a future in New York as a photographer. She wanted to capture the world. Jennifer wanted her to stay close. I told her to follow her dream. That was our last conversation, an argument that ended with slammed doors and headlights disappearing into a storm. The sheriff's call came before dawn. They found her car at the bottom of a ravine off Highway 17, fire still burning. The wreckage was too far gone to identify much. They said she'd probably swerved to miss a deer. I remember kneeling beside what was left, holding her silver locket, the one with our family photo inside, and realizing how quiet the world can get when your child's laughter is gone. 15 years later, that quiet was broken. It was 2:13 a.m. when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I squinted at the screen through half-closed eyes, and every piece of air in my chest froze. Ashley, mobile. I hadn't seen that name on a screen since the night before she died. For a long second, I just stared. My brain told me it was impossible, maybe a scam, maybe a cruel coincidence. But my hands didn't listen. I answered. "Hello?" At first, nothing. Just static and faint breathing. "Who is this?" I asked, sitting up, heart pounding. Then I heard it. A trembling whisper I could never mistake. "Dad?" The world stopped. My pulse thundered in my ears. "Ashley?" She started to cry, quiet, broken sobs that felt too real to fake. "Dad, I need your help, please don't tell Mom." The line went dead. I tried calling back. The number didn't exist anymore. I called again, and again, same result. It was as if the call had never happened. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Every shadow in the room looked alive. My mind kept replaying her voice, older, heavier, but hers. By sunrise, I was convinced I'd lost my mind. Maybe I'd dreamed it. Maybe grief had finally snapped something inside me. But deep down, beneath all the doubt, there was that one thing only fathers understand, a feeling. So, I started digging. I pulled out Ashley's old records, her death certificate, the investigation report I'd buried in a drawer years ago. Most of it looked the same, until I reached the final page. Someone had changed it. The section marked cause of death had been amended 2 years ago. No explanation. No doctor's signature. Just a blank space where closure used to be. A cold wave ran through me. Who could have done that? Why 2 years ago? And why now, after 15 years, did her number come back to life? The more I stared at that paper, the less sense any of it made. But one thing was suddenly clear, this wasn't over. Whatever I'd buried 15 years ago, it wasn't my daughter. If you were in my place, would you believe that phone call? Or would you call it madness? Tell me what you think in the comments. I hadn't visited Ashley's grave in nearly 3 years. I told myself it was because the drive was long, but the truth was simpler. I couldn't stand the silence that waited for me there. That morning, the sky hung heavy with gray clouds, and the air smelled of wet earth. St. Mary's Cemetery sat just off a quiet back road outside Charleston. The moment I stepped out of the truck, I felt that old ache in my chest again, the one that comes from knowing you're standing over everything you ever loved. Her headstone was clean, polished, almost too perfect. Someone had been there recently. Jennifer, most likely. She never missed a date, birthdays, anniversaries, even random Tuesdays. She said it made her feel close to Ashley. I used to think it was her way of healing. Now, I wasn't so sure. I knelt down and brushed the dirt from her name. "Hey, kiddo," I whispered. "If you're really out there somewhere, I need you to give me something. A sign. Anything." The wind moved through the trees, but nothing else. I stood up, staring at that stone, and realized something that chilled me. The date of death was slightly off-center, like it had been etched again. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was everything. That night, I went home and pulled up the county's digital records system. I entered Ashley's name, her date of birth, the year she died. The file came up locked. I called the county clerk's office the next morning. "I'm her father," I said. "I just want to look at her case file." After a few moments of silence, the woman on the line said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell, but that file was sealed, at the family's request." "The family?" I repeated. "I am the family. It was requested by Mrs. Jennifer Mitchell," she said gently. My stomach turned. That evening, I drove to Jennifer's house in Mount Pleasant. The porch light was on, and I could see her silhouette through the window, pouring wine, moving like nothing in the world was wrong. When she opened the door and saw me, her expression froze. "Jason, it's late. I need to talk," I said. She hesitated but stepped aside. "What's this about?" I didn't bother easing into it. "Why did you seal Ashley's case file?" Her hands tightened around her glass. "I did it to protect you." "From what, exactly?" She looked down, her voice almost a whisper. "You were falling apart, Jason. You didn't need to see all those details again." "That's not an answer," I said, keeping my voice low but steady. She glanced toward the window, nervous, as if someone might be listening. "You're chasing ghosts. Please, don't start this again." Before I could push further, headlights swept across the living room. A black SUV pulled up across the street. Tinted windows. Engine idling. "Who's that?" I asked. Jennifer's face went pale. "Jason, go home. Not until you tell me what's going on." She stepped closer, her voice trembling. "You don't understand who you're dealing with." "I'm dealing with my daughter's death," I said. The SUV's driver's side door opened. A tall man in a dark suit stepped out, earpiece glinting under the streetlight. He looked straight at me, cold, assessing, and then at Jennifer. Her lips barely moved. "Please. Just go." I did. But not because she asked. Because for the first time, I saw fear in Jennifer's eyes. Real fear. Back home, I sat in my truck for hours before I made my next call, to the coroner listed on Ashley's report. It took a while, but I tracked him down in Sarasota, Florida. When I told him who I was, he went silent. "Mr. Mitchell," he said finally, his voice low, uneasy. "I didn't perform that autopsy. My name was used, but I never saw your daughter's body." I felt the blood drain from my face. "What do you mean?" "I was told to sign the paperwork and keep quiet. Orders came from someone up the chain. That's all I know." The line went dead. For a long time, I just sat there, staring into the darkness outside my window, my heart thundering. Every truth I thought I knew had started to crack open. And all I could think was this: if Jennifer lied about the file, what else had she buried with our daughter? What would you do if you found out someone close to you may have hidden the truth about your child's death? 3 nights after that call with the coroner, I got another message. This time, not a call but a text. No name. Just a picture. It showed a young woman standing outside a diner with a red neon sign that read, Marley's Diner, Raleigh, North Carolina. She was thinner, older, her hair shorter and darker, but there was no mistaking that smile, the tiny curve on the left side of her lips she'd had since childhood. Under the image, one sentence. Come alone if you want the truth. I stared at that message until dawn. Logic said it had to be a hoax. My heart said otherwise. By morning, I was already on the road. The drive to Raleigh took 5 hours, but it felt like 5 minutes and forever all at once. Every mile brought back memories. Ashley at 6, running through the yard with a camera made of cardboard. Ashley at 16, telling me she wanted to capture the world before it changed her. The diner sat at the edge of town, quiet and nearly empty. The rain had just stopped when I parked my truck across the street. I stayed there for 10 minutes, watching. Finally, the door opened, and she stepped out. My hands went numb. It was her. Ashley. She looked like someone who'd lived 1,000 lifetimes since I'd last seen her. Haunted eyes, a thin scar running along her jawline, clothes that hung loose on her frame. For a second, I couldn't move. Then she saw me. Dad, she whispered. The sound of her voice shattered 15 years of silence. I ran to her before my brain could catch up. When I reached her, I didn't say a word. I just pulled her into my arms and held on like she might vanish if I let go. She trembled against me, and I felt her tears soak into my shirt. You're alive? I whispered, still not believing it. How is this possible? She pulled back, eyes full of fear. We don't have much time. Ashley, tell me what's going on. What happened? She looked around, checking the parking lot before speaking. They told Mom it was the only way to keep me safe. But it was never about safety. Who's they? Linux Laboratories, she said. The company Mom worked for. They were running trials, illegal ones. I found evidence. Children overseas, people who never consented. My heart pounded. You told Jennifer? She begged me to stay quiet, Ashley said. Said they'd destroy her career, our family. I refused. The next day, my car crashed. I could barely breathe. She knew? She helped them make it look real, Ashley said quietly. But I wasn't supposed to die. They planned to send me away, change my identity. I escaped before they could finish it. The weight of her words sank in like stones. My wife, my grieving, broken wife, had been part of a lie so big it destroyed everything we ever were. Ashley grabbed my hand. Dad, they know you're looking into this. They'll come for both of us. I shook my head. Let them come. I'm not losing you again. Before she could answer, the sound of screeching tires tore through the air. A black SUV swerved into the parking lot, headlights blinding. Ashley's grip tightened. It's them! The diner windows shattered as gunfire erupted. I shoved Ashley behind a car, glass spraying everywhere. People screamed and scattered. Run! I yelled. We bolted for the alley behind the diner. My heart felt like it was going to burst out of my chest. The SUV's doors slammed. Heavy footsteps followed. We sprinted through puddles and garbage bins until we reached my truck. Ashley dove inside, and I hit the gas before my door was even closed. Bullets pinged off the tailgate as we tore out onto the highway. Ashley's breath came in ragged bursts beside me. Dad, they'll never stop. You don't know what they've done. I glanced at her, trying to process everything, her face, her words, her fear. Then tell me, I said. Start from the beginning. Her eyes filled with tears. It started with Mom. Would you forgive a parent who betrayed you to protect a secret this big? Let me know in the comments section. By the time we reached South Carolina, dawn was breaking over the highway. Ashley hadn't slept, and neither had I. Every mile that took us farther from Raleigh made the air feel heavier, like the world behind us was still chasing our taillights. The cabin sat near Lake Marion, a place I'd built years ago when life still felt simple. Back then, it was where I took Ashley fishing, where she'd complain about mosquitoes but smile when the sun hit the water. It felt like a lifetime ago. When we stepped inside, the dust told its own story. I lit the old oil lamp, and the faint glow settled between us. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Ashley whispered, "I can't believe I'm actually here. With you." I looked at her, older, scarred, but still my little girl. "I never stopped hoping," I said quietly. Tears welled in her eyes. "I wanted to call you, so many times. But they were watching me. I didn't even know if you were safe." I reached for her hand. "We're here now. That's all that matters." She gave a weak smile and pulled a small flash drive from her jacket pocket. "No, Dad. This matters too." I took it carefully. "What's on it?" "Proof," she said. "Documents, photos, recordings. Everything they tried to bury." She connected the drive to my old laptop. Dozens of folders appeared: classified reports, medical trials, emails with Linux letterheads, and one folder labeled JM Authorization. I opened it, and Jennifer's name appeared again and again, signing approvals, authorizing payments, clearing experiments under special circumstances. I couldn't breathe. She was part of it. Ashley nodded. Linux was testing gene therapy on soldiers overseas, unapproved drugs that caused permanent damage. When I found out, I confronted her. I thought she'd help me expose it. But she chose them, I said bitterly. She said if I talked, they'd destroy all of us. When I refused to stay quiet, they staged my death. She stopped, her voice cracking. She came to see me afterward. I thought she was there to help, but she was there to make sure I disappeared. I sank into the chair, head in my hands. God, Ashley. For the first time since finding her, the weight of it hit me. 15 years of guilt, grief, and loss, all built on lies. Ashley knelt beside me. Dad, I don't want revenge. I just want it to stop. I looked up, meeting her eyes. You deserve justice. And so do all those people Linux hurt. She hesitated. What can we even do? They own everything. They have connections in government, law enforcement, media, everyone. I stared at the files again. Then we take it public. Everything. Once it's out there, they can't silence us. Her expression hardened. You'd risk your life for this? I already lost mine the day I buried you, I said. Now I'm taking it back. For the next 2 days, we worked without rest. We backed up files on encrypted drives, wrote detailed summaries, and recorded a video statement telling Ashley's story. I watched her speak, voice steady, eyes determined, and felt both pride and fear. At night, when she finally fell asleep on the couch, I stayed awake by the window, keeping watch. Every distant engine made my stomach twist. I knew Linux wouldn't stop. Not until they erased every trace of the truth. On the third night, a truck slowed down near the cabin before speeding off again. Ashley stirred in her sleep, and I whispered, We're almost there, kiddo. Just a little longer. By morning, the files were ready to send to every major news outlet in the country. My finger hovered over the send button, my pulse pounding. This is it, I said. Ashley nodded. Let's end it. I hit send. And just like that, the storm we'd been running from finally had our names. Do you think revenge is justified if it's the only way to get justice for your family? The morning after we sent the files, the world began to stir. News outlets picked up the leaks. Social media flooded with questions about Linux, about the experiments, about the children who never came home. By noon, my phone was buzzing with unknown numbers. Some were reporters. Some I knew were not. Ashley sat by the window, watching the lake. It's out there now, she said softly. No one can stop it. I wanted to believe that. But something deep inside me whispered that Jennifer would try. That evening, the rain returned, heavy, relentless, hammering against the cabin's tin roof. I was locking the back door when headlights appeared through the trees. My chest tightened. A black SUV rolled up the driveway and stopped beside the truck. Ashley froze. "Dad? I see it." The driver's door opened first, followed by the passengers. Two men stepped out, dark suits, no badges, no hesitation. Between them, holding an umbrella, was Jennifer. For a second, I couldn't move. She looked older, worn down, her eyes hollow but sharp. The same woman I once promised forever to, standing in the storm with strangers who wanted us gone. She lowered the umbrella slowly, staring at me. "Jason, you shouldn't have done this." I stepped forward, rain soaking my shirt. "You lied to me. You buried our daughter alive." Her jaw trembled. "I saved her." "By destroying her life?" I shouted. "By destroying mine?" Jennifer's voice broke. "You don't understand what Linux is. What they would have done if she'd spoken out. They would have killed her. They would have killed all of us." I shook my head. "You became one of them to protect yourself." She took a step closer, ignoring the rain. "I did what I had to do. I made a deal. Her death kept us safe." Ashley's voice came from behind me. "Mom." Jennifer froze. Her eyes widened as Ashley stepped into the light. For a heartbeat, either of them breathed. "Ashley," Jennifer whispered. "Oh my God!" Ashley's face was pale, her hair dripping with rain. "You knew I was alive. All these years you knew." Jennifer reached out a trembling hand. "I wanted to find you. I—" "Stop," Ashley said. "You let them chase me like an animal. You let Dad bury an empty coffin. You don't get to play mother now." The tension cracked like thunder overhead. Jennifer's hands shook, tears mingling with the rain. "You don't understand, I couldn't." "Couldn't what?" Ashley demanded. "Tell the truth." Jennifer's composure broke. "They were going to kill you. I made them promise to leave you alone if I kept quiet." Ashley stepped closer, her voice softening. "Then why are they still following me, Mom?" Jennifer's face crumbled. "Because you came back." One of the men behind her raised a gun. I saw the motion before Jennifer did. Instinct took over. I pushed Ashley back, shouting, "Get down!" The gunshot ripped through the rain. Ashley gasped. For a moment, everything slowed. I turned, and saw her on the ground, blood blooming through her shirt. "No, no, no!" I dropped beside her, pressing my hands against the wound. "Stay with me, baby. Please!" Jennifer screamed, shoving the gunman away, falling to her knees. "Ashley!" Ashley's trembling hand found mine. "It's okay, Dad," she whispered weakly. "You kept your promise." Her voice faded. The sirens in the distance were too late. Jennifer crawled forward, sobbing. "I didn't mean to, I just wanted to protect her." I looked at her through tears, my voice breaking. "You wanted to protect yourself. And now she's gone, for real this time." The rain kept falling, washing away everything except the sound of Jennifer's cries and the faint echo of the life we both destroyed. Can love and guilt ever exist in the same heart? Tell me what you think in the comments, and if this story has your heart racing, don't forget to like the video. The world moved fast after that night at the cabin. The video Ashley recorded went viral within hours. News channels replayed her voice over and over, the calm conviction in her words, the pain behind her eyes. The documents we'd sent out exploded across every network. Linux laboratories fell apart in less than a week. Executives resigned, stock prices crashed, and federal investigations swept through their offices. Names that had once been untouchable were suddenly plastered across headlines. For a brief, fleeting moment, justice seemed real. But I couldn't feel it. Ashley's blood had barely dried on my hands when the world began calling her a hero. They didn't know what it cost to make her story heard. They didn't know what it cost to lose her twice. Jennifer vanished that same night. Some said she fled the country. Others claimed she turned herself in under a different name. I didn't look for her. Whatever punishment waited for her, it would never match the one she carried in her heart. The authorities questioned me for days, agents, lawyers, journalists. They wanted statements, timelines, clarity. But I had nothing left to give. When they were done, I went home. The house felt smaller, emptier, almost foreign. The air still carried faint traces of her, Ashley's laughter echoing in the hallway, the pictures she once painted still hanging unevenly on the wall. I'd won, they said. The truth was out. Line X was finished. But standing there, surrounded by ghosts, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like silence. A month later, I buried Ashley again, this time, for real. The service was small, quiet. No cameras, no reporters. Just me, a handful of old friends, and a single wooden casket that held the girl who once made my world worth living in. I brought her locket, the one she used to wear every day. It still had a tiny picture of us fishing at Lake Marion, both of us smiling, both unaware of the storm that would one day tear everything apart. I placed it gently on the casket before they lowered it into the ground. "You can rest now, sweetheart," I whispered. "The truth's out there. They can't hurt you anymore." As the first shovelful of dirt hit the lid, I felt the weight of every choice I'd made pressing down with it. Revenge had given me something to fight for, but it also took everything worth fighting for. That night, I went back to the lake. The water was calm still. I sat on the dock until the stars came out, listening to the quiet hum of the night. People had started reaching out online, calling me brave, calling Ashley an inspiration. But I didn't feel brave. I just felt tired. Revenge had burned through everything I loved, and in the ashes, there was only truth and grief. Maybe that's what justice really is. Not peace. Not satisfaction. Just the end of the lies. Still, in the silence, I found something small, a purpose I hadn't expected. Ashley's story wouldn't end with her death. I would keep it alive. I'd speak for her, for every family Line X hurt, for every voice they silenced. It was all I had left, and maybe that was enough. Before I left the dock, I took her photo from my wallet, her teenage smile frozen in time, and whispered, "We did it, kiddo. The right way, even if it cost us everything." The wind shifted across the water, soft and warm, like an answer I couldn't quite hear. And for the first time in years, I let myself believe she was at peace. "If you lost everything in the process of getting justice, would you still call it victory?" 6 months had passed since Ashley's final goodbye. The world had moved on, just like it always does. Line X was gone. Their executives were in courtrooms, their laboratories sealed off. The headlines came and went. People praised Ashley for her courage, for standing up when no one else would. But once the cameras stopped, once the noise faded, I was left with silence. I sold the house in Charleston and moved out to the lake. It was quiet there, just me, the water, and a few old memories that refused to let go. Most mornings, I'd sit on the porch with a cup of coffee and her locket beside me. I'd watch the sunrise stretch across the lake and pretend, just for a moment, that she was still here. Sometimes I'd talk to her out loud. I'd tell her how proud I was, how brave she'd been. How sorry I was that I hadn't protected her when it mattered most. One morning in early spring, I found a small brown package sitting by the front door. No return address. No markings. Just my name, Jason Mitchell, written in her handwriting. My heart skipped. I hadn't seen her writing since before everything. Inside was a single envelope and a phone, simple, old, familiar. I opened the envelope first. It held a single folded note. "Play me when you're ready." Eh? For a long moment, I just stared at it, the words swimming before my eyes. My hands trembled as I turned on the phone. There was only one recording saved. The title read, "Dad?" I pressed play. For a second, all I heard was static. Then, her voice. "Hey, Dad." My breath caught. It was her. Older, softer, tired, but still her. "If you're hearing this," she continued, "then I guess things didn't end the way I hoped. I didn't want to leave you again without saying goodbye this time. My throat tightened as I sank into the chair, eyes locked on the lake through the window. I spent a long time running, she said. From Linux. From Mom. From what happened. But I was mostly running from the guilt of knowing what it did to you. I thought disappearing would protect you, but it only broke both of us. Her voice cracked, and I felt a tear roll down my face. I know you probably hate Mom. Maybe you always will. But she did what she thought would keep me alive, even if it meant breaking her own heart. I see that now. There was a pause, a quiet breath. Don't let this story end with revenge, Dad. Let it end with peace. You gave me courage to tell the truth, and because of you, the world finally listened. That's what matters now. So please don't keep living in the past. Go fishing again. Laugh. Forgive. She laughed softly through tears. And if you ever miss me, look at the water. That's where I'll be. Every sunrise, every ripple, I'll be there. The recording ended with silence, and then a faint whisper. I love you, Dad. The phone screen dimmed. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at it through tears. The ache in my chest felt heavier than ever, but somehow, lighter too. I walked outside to the dock, her locket still in my hand. The lake was calm, reflecting the colors of dawn. I opened the locket, kissed the photo inside, and let it slip into the water. The ripples spread gently across the surface, catching the morning light. I love you too, sweetheart, I whispered. And I'll be okay. For the first time in years, I believed it. Do you think Jason can ever truly find peace after everything he's lost? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next powerful story.